Hello and welcome to the second episode of Tech Hill Tuesday. My name is Casmol, and today we are talking about two very important technologies, which is DLSS and VRS. DLSS stands for Deep Learning Supersampling, and VRS is Variable Rate Shading. Now, sounds complicated. It is, but the technology behind it is amazing and can be a literal game changer for gaming. So, first things first, let's talk about NVIDIA DLSS. Now, you have already noticed that I said NVIDIA DLSS. Well, the problem is that this is a technology owned by NVIDIA, so we will probably not see it on AMD cards or on any of the new consoles because they're also using AMD cards and not NVIDIA cards. And that might be problematic. Maybe we are lucky. Maybe we will see them at some point on AMD cards. Or AMD is even coming up with their own ideas regarding that technology. But this technology is a game changer. Why? What does it do? Well, to understand what it does and why it was important, we have to go back in time, a few years to be precise, when console manufacturers thought about a way to bring more beautiful graphics to their consoles without calling it the next generation console, namely PlayStation 4 Pro and Xbox One X, right? The new consoles which will be available to play the games, or most of the games, in 4K. 4K was the technology the console manufacturers chose to be the easiest and cheapest way to improve graphics in video games by costing a little bit more power, but without having to upgrade any of their systems. Like they really literally just needed more power in the hardware. That was everything they needed. They didn't need new hardware. They didn't have to do anything with the games. It was really just changing the resolution. So they choose that. Problem was, the PC was going a different route because the PC industry and the gaming industry there and the hardware manufacturers were already working on the next generation graphic features like ray tracing, right? One of the big things which are now coming to next generation consoles. Problem is 4K takes a lot of power and the new graphic features also take a lot of power. Think about it like you have 100% on your graphics card and 4K takes away 60% of that and the new graphic features take away 60%. And if you do a little bit of math, 60% plus 60%, yeah, that doesn't really work out, right? It just doesn't work out. It costs too much power. So they had to make a decision. Do they remove 4K? Or do they remove the new graphic features? And let's be honest here, they choose neither. Or at least NVIDIA did. They were like, hey, we want 4K, but we also want the new graphic features. So we need a solution. And in this case, DLSS. So what does DLSS do now exactly? Like, I mean, okay, cool, it fixes one of those issues, but what does it do? Well, glad that you asked, because I can showcase it to you. Let me deactivate my camera and let's jump directly into Death Stranding. So, we are in Death Stranding and this game is running at beautiful 4K. And you can also see the FPS, which is 60 right now without any issues. And that's cool. Yeah, we have some, by the way, yes, we have some slight dips because I'm also recording right now and, well, put some strain on my on my PC. But however, it basically stays on 60 and it's 4K. Beautiful, isn't it? But what if I'm gonna tell you right now, you're not looking at 4K. You're looking at 1080p. Wait, you lied to us? No, I did not. That is what DLSS does. DLSS takes a picture, takes it apart, and puts it together in a higher resolution in this case 4K. So took a 1080p picture, took it apart, thanks to AI and supersampling, put it together again, and now you have a beautiful 4K picture, which is indistinguishable from an original 4K picture. And you might ask, K? Like, it is really indistinguishable? Yeah, it is. It is as good as it is with normal 4K, and sometimes even better, because the AI is trying to read the textures of like some of the on the written stuff, and sometimes in 4K it doesn't get really rendered right. So the AI is doing the work and make sure you can actually read like even the fine print on some of the textures. So sometimes the quality is even better than the original. But you might now say, okay, well, cool, I guess, but what does that really do with the 4K issue? Well, as I said, it uses 1080p to then supersample it to 4K thanks to DLSS. It's not like normal supersampling, it is like deep learning supersampling. So an AI is doing the reconstructuring, and interestingly enough, that takes far less power than normal supersampling or even original 4K. So to put it in easy terms, you have a 4K picture and you need the performance of 1080p. That is the magic trick here. That is what makes DLSS so amazing. Again, you can reach 4K just with the performance of 1080p. That is the trick. And it's, again, indistinguishable. Pretty cool. And that helps to fix the issue, because now you have room to activate the new graphic features like ray tracing without even a hitch. So there's the solution, at least from NVIDIA, when it comes to the 4K issue and the new graphic features. But as you might remember, we talked about something else, and that is variable rate shading, or just VRS. What does that do? Well, it does something similar like DLSS, but the good thing is, and this is why this is interesting for all the new console owners, this is coming to every graphic card. Yes, even your console's one. So what does it do? Well, right now, the picture is rendered in 4K. Everything you are seeing is rendered in 4K. The clouds, the mountains, the wires, everything you see, your character of course, everything is rendered in beautiful 4K. Amazing. But resource hungry. So let's say you don't use DLSS right now and you only have VRS. What does that do? Well, VRS also takes a look at the picture, and it's some deep learning, and now it determines which item on the screen has to be rendered in 4K and which doesn't. So let's say the clouds. Do the clouds have to be rendered in 4K? Probably not. Does the wires in the background have to be rendered in 4K? The mountains? Probably not. They are too far away to really see a difference between, let's say, 1080p and 4K. Or even the stones, which you can see all over the place. Do like the further one in the background have to be rendered in 4K? Probably not. So basically VRS looks at textures and determines if they have to be rendered in a high resolution and in 4K. And if it determines no, it doesn't, then they can lower that, and that gives you a little bit extra performance. Like the birds you can see in the background right here at the mountain, right? Like they're running in 4K right now. Do they have to? No, probably not. You are far away to really realize if they're rendered in 4K or not. So these two new features, even though the one is only available for NVIDIA cards and the other one is available for everyone, are really there to give back of that performance 4K basically took from you and utilize it for new graphic features which are coming with the next generation of console games. And of course, if you already have like one of the new graphic cards for the PC. But it's pretty amazing, especially DLSS is insane. Like, you cannot see the difference anymore between normal 4K and DLSS 4K, but with the performance of a 1080p, which is absolutely insane and crazy, and which makes it so that your GPUs can actually run for a very long time, because you always can get a little bit more performance out of it. Or what NVIDIA actually does with the 3090, you know, that 8K monster, actually the card isn't running those games in native 8K. Even the 3090 is not capable of doing so. But what they are doing with it, they're using DLSS performance mode, which you're seeing in action here right now, and basically just upscale from 4K to 8K. And it looks amazing. So DLSS is definitely one of the big winners of the next generation fight when it comes to software or gadgets NVIDIA has. And AMD definitely needs something in comparison. So we will see what they have to offer actually very, very soon. And we will see how it goes. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. But DLSS is definitely one of the winners, and variable rate shading is pretty good as well. With that said, though, thank you so much for watching. I hope I see you next time, and next Tuesday with another Tech Hill episode. Till then, bye bye.